Siyanamkela kakhona ku-SABC 1 igama lami ngu-Unathi kwaye ndihamba no-Robert Marawa. One of the values that Utata spoke about and believed in is that we can do anything when we are united. Utata Mandela used sports to unite South Africans who had been divided along racial lines for many years. Utata wayidla ngokuthi sports is the one language in the world that can be understood by many, and this is why he used it as our tool of unification. Joining us today to help us reflect on this is our own SABC sports journalist, Mr. Thabo Daniels, joined by Mr. David Gaganis. And I'm going to go SABC 1. Utata was very smart about the Rugby World Cup 195. Can you take us through how Utata used this, Tata, as a tool to unite us, Singabantu baseMzantsi Afrika?
Yeah, in 1995, Utata produced a stroke of genius. Yeah, on the day of the final, he arrived at a stadium. Or by the time when he presented the cup to the winning team, to the winning captain, Francois Pienaar, you know, Francois Pienaar. So on its own, that was a master stroke, because before that there was a lot of tension and mistrust, you know, and also there was also a misconception that in rugby, sports Afrikaners, and then Utata proved that wrong, and that on its own was a unifying factor.
And it was also quite a serious thing, because if you remember the politics around Abo Louis Late, and he was later to take Utata to court as being a sitting president, that was the first time that happened. But Utata being the unifier again, David, Again Zanga only in 95. Why Pinda Foot a year later, but this time wearing a football jersey?
Yes, Robert. I think prior to the wearing of the jersey on the eve of the final, you take it back to the point when Utata decided that the Springbok emblem should be used. And you remember, after a lengthy discussions about Mlilike George coming forward to say that the Springbok emblem was a symbol of oppression, and it should not be retained as an emblem for rugby. And Utata came out strongly and said, we are going to retain the Springbok emblem, and because it is for those that are playing in rugby, it is a symbol of achievement. And we are going to fall behind rugby and support them with the usage of the emblem. Beyond that, then there was that gesture of wearing the number 6 jersey for Pienaar. Then moved, he knew that rugby, for most of the people that followed soccer, yes, they were always part and parcel of his constituency. And rugby was therefore followed by, like Thabo Daniel said, by people that really followed, who were mostly white. Yeah. So to wear that jersey of rugby first in 95 and juxtapose it to wearing the Neil Tovey jersey in 96 was the symbol of showing that sports can unite us, and sports as it is a symbol that can carry us as a nation forward. And if he could wear the jersey, anybody could, and anybody could support rugby and support football at the same time.
Let's see. Yeah, if you remember quite well, before that 1995, there was a lot of tension in the country. Remember the 1992 all-white referendum, you know, there was that tension, you know. So Utata, he helped to quell, to break that tension. Was sense we trust one another, you know. He inculcated that we are one nation, we one country.
Babu Thabo, we understand that skeptics Ngati, but Utata, this was his responsibility because he was in the office of the presidency. But we saw a weaker, a frailer Tata Mandela during the 2010 World Cup, where he did not have a presidential or state obligation to be there. But I know through the love of sport, through the three of you, you understand what it means to love the sport, but also to be an ambassador of unity through sport. Yeah. What does that mean to you? Because I know you're a fanatic with regards to his sport.
Okay, without any doubt, that on its own, it showed that the man had a love for his country. He had a love for his people, you know, because he was not in good health, but he managed Ahambe, went to the World Cup. And then you remember when we won the bid in Zurich to host the World Cup in 2010, Mandela was there. It was the Mandela factor that brought the World Cup to South Africa.
Now, Utata siyamazi-ke babukekana ukuthi ubethanda boxing.
Yes.
But ubethanda nje zemidlalo zonke. Ngokubona kwakho, which was his favorite sport?
Well, I think equally Utata was he knew most of the sports. And of course, boxing was his first love. And you'd see a twinkle in his eyes when he met boxers. I mean, all of them, Lennox Lewis, the late baby Jake Matlala. Those were, he looked at them as meipatirs, you know, those that he could share with because he knew what it takes to be a boxer and be in a ring. And he loved boxing. But again, when you look in terms of all sorts of sports, I mean, from football to rugby, he embraced them. He used to have this unorthodox way of doing things. I mean, he'd call the captains of the Proteas. Sean Pollack will always tell you that he received calls from Utata. Even when he lost his captaincy, Tata would not say, no, now that he's not a captain any longer, he's not going to get a call. He got a call from him, and he would say, you know what? Continue to do what you're doing, unify South Africa and become the best you can be in your position. Even if you're not captain, play a captain's innings. And that's Tata. You know, he knew how to break barriers, he knew how to get to people, and he knew how to unify people. And that's the strength that we'll always miss. You know, whilst, of course, Archbishop Tutu coined the Rainbow Nation, Tata brought the Madiba magic to all sporting fraternities, including, of course, in 2003 when cricket, South Africa got the right to beat, to host a World Cup here in South Africa. He was always behind cricket as well.
Yeah.
All right, multiple sporting codes, and that's why we've got to thank the gentleman here in studio, Thabo Daniels, as well as David Kekane, for sharing those memories as well. What are your memories about that, especially from a sporting fraternity, sporting background, the 95, 96, what did that mean to you? And also when you look at the Springbok emblem, as has been discussed here, I mean, Donnie Craven said it many years ago that no black person would ever wear this. But in the light of that, Utata went beyond it and said, well, I'll wear it. It's a new South Africa, and let's see what happens. Your thoughts about today, highly emotional indeed, and it's amazing how far we've come as a country. And let's remember one of the greatest sporting events at United South Africa back then in 1995, the Rugby World Cup.